What's up, everybody? It's Jack and Dan, and today we're going to be talking about our solar system.
Yeah, we put a solar system in about 10 years ago, and we've got a lot of questions about it and things like that. But we kind of wanted to wait and give it a little time and then kind of report back. This is 10 years since we put this in, right?
Yeah, that doesn't seem that long, but it is. I guess.
Right, so Jack was almost 8. He is now going to be 18. And the way that I did this is I did it around the time he was 8, because by the time he was 18, I wanted it to be kind of like paid for and everything like that. We're going to run through things. Now, keep in mind, guys, we live in Cleveland, right? Probably not the best scenario of anywhere in the world you can live to go solar. And it still made sense for us to do it. We're going to show you how on this big old board here with our dry erase marker. But here's the thing. We only were able to put a few panels. We have 50 panels total. Got 26 on this side of the house right behind us, 24 on the other side. We only have 5 that actually face south. The other about half of those 50 are east. The other ones are on the other side west. So the sun comes up around this way, and so it gets the ones on the garage almost all day long. The ones on this side of the house mainly in the morning and then in the afternoon. And it also starts hitting the ones on the west side of the house in the afternoon. So both of them get hit in the middle of the day. The ones on this side get hit in the morning. The ones on the other side get hit in the evening. Again, if you were in a situation where you could face all of them south, either on your roof or on your property, you're obviously going to make more, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have that as a scenario for us, and we still think it worked out pretty well. And also, again, like we said, Cleveland, we got snow, right?
Yeah.
So there are parts of the year where snow is covering
a lot
them.
of lake effect precipitation.
Yeah, from Lake Erie and stuff like that.
Yep.
So even people that just live a few hours south of us in Ohio are going to have way less snow than us,
Yeah.
and therefore produce more. Also, again, so this is our scenario. Everyone's situation is going to be different.
Yeah.
So people, a lot of times they put questions in those previous videos of, well, what about this? What about that? Again, we're going to put contact information below in the description for Yellow Light, which is the company we went with, and for our salesperson, Cody, totally awesome guy. They are going to research your roof or your property, and they're going to look at Google Maps, and they're going to see what works for you. Your situation is going to be different than ours, and somebody else's is going to be different than yours, and everything else. We're sharing our situation because that's all we know about, right?
Right, yeah.
So we wanted to kind of share it because a lot of people have had questions. So first thing we're going to start off with, a lot of people say things like this, right? They say, but it takes a lot to make those solar panels.
Yeah.
But here's what people forget. And this is one of the things that Jack and I talked about years ago. It takes energy to make any appliance that you put in your house.
Yeah, refrigerators, stoves, anything like that. Even cars, vehicles.
Furnace, everything that you put in your house was made in a factory. It took energy to make it, and then it took energy to bring it to your
And
house.
it's still creating energy. It's still wasting energy, I
Yeah,
should
it's
say.
using energy.
Using
So any
energy, yeah.
appliance that you buy, right? We have an all completely electric home. So that's one of the reasons we decided to do this, is because we're like, hey, we don't have gas, and we're gonna just be electric forever. So we decided to invest in this. Now, a lot of people say, hey, I'm gonna invest in a new kitchen, or I'm gonna invest in this. Again, those are nice things to do. We didn't really feel that we needed to do those things.
Yeah.
We may down the road if we stay here, but we felt like they were good enough the way they were. We did do some remodeling and some projects in the house, but majorly we want to take care of this because the earlier you do it, the more your return's going to be. You're not really going to get that much of a return on a kitchen or a bathroom as you're going to get on free energy,
A lot of
right?
people think that, but it's not. That's not true. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time it doesn't. Most of the market really has to do with just how the houses around you are selling, how much land, how much property, and location.
Yeah,
And so there are
the
houses.
school systems and everything
Yeah,
else.
there are houses selling around us that also didn't do remodeling, and they're making 3 times what they paid 30 whatever years ago. So that's not really that big of a deal. When it comes to selling your house and you have a solar system, there are going to be a handful of people that are going to be discouraged by that, right?
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, I don't want to deal with this. This is something new and different. There are so many people doing this now, though, and there is such a demand for housing. I don't think that would really be the case. I think that someone would look at it as, hey, I'm going to move into this house. I'm going to have hardly any electric bill at all.
They would, I think they would look at it as like an investment. You know what I mean?
A good
Yeah.
thing.
So that it would be a return, especially if they have an electric vehicle or multiple electric vehicles, because that way they can plug in.
Which
like-
is happening
like
more
you-
and more
like
these
you
days.
did,
Yeah. Yeah, so we have electric tools, electric lawnmower, electric house, electric furnaces, electric cars, everything. So it really benefits you in that situation. But anyway, there is probably a handful of people that might be intimidated by it and say, I don't want to do it. I think that amount of people has decreased in the last 10 years.
I think it used to be more taboo, actually, like the past decade, but now it's more common, and there's more electric vehicles and everything. There's more, it's more common.
And there's people all around us that have solar panels now.
I think the stigma's kind of gone. I think a lot of people understand what it actually is.
So even if you live in your house for not that long and you go to sell it, you're going to be able to sell it for more money because the person moving in doesn't have to do anything, and they're not going to have hardly any utilities. So again, just want to make those points. Now, the other thing is so talking about the energy production, it has been calculated, we looked this up, it's been calculated that it takes about 3 years for these panels to make the amount of energy that it took to basically make them and bring them to our house. So it makes sense. If you have a small system, it's going to produce less, but it took less energy to make. If you have a large system, it's going to produce more, but it took more energy to make. So from an environmental standpoint, the first 3 years is kind of like, from an environmental standpoint. After that, you're making energy off the sun, period. And that's amazing. And you're replacing the CO2 of like thousands and thousands of trees. And there are programs, and Yellow Light hooks you up with a program, and you can look on their app on your phone anytime, and you can see, this is how much I'm producing, this is how much CO2 we're replacing by making energy without producing CO2. It's really cool. So anyway, there's your number, 3 years. So for 7 years now, we have been producing energy. The first 3 years canceled out what it took to bring them to our house and make them. After that, so just a cool figure there to throw by you. Okay, now the cost. This is what everybody wants to know. What's the cost? This is what this cost us, guys. This is going to shock a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So $41,000 is what we had to do. Now, here's what we did. We did a home equity loan. We did a home equity loan for $41,000, just like someone would do a home equity loan to like do their kitchen or their bathrooms or their driveway or whatever. We didn't really have to do any of those things. Again, we did what we wanted to do from a remodeling standpoint. We decided to do this. It was better for the environment and everything else. So that's what that was. Now, here's the cool part about that. Up until the end of this year, and this is changing, and this is one of the reasons we're doing this video, is to let people know you could get a federal tax credit for 30%. So if you take 41,000 on a calculator there, Jack, and you multiply times 0.3, okay, what are you going to get? Yeah, 41,000 times 0.3.
You get 1,200, 300. 12,300.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, guys, this amount right here, we were able to get a refund on our taxes the year. Now, we got these in October, around this time of year. So, I did my taxes just a few months later and got back $12,300 in addition to everything else that I was able. Because, of course, when you got kids, you get a little tax refund for kids like this, right? Yeah. This guy right here, so I got a few thousand for him and everything, and then there were other tax deductions I had and things like that. So I got a huge rebate that year. Okay, so sorry, a super loud truck went by, so we paused it for a second. So anyway, we got a huge deduction now that year. Now I used some of that deduction to, again, do some remodeling around here and stuff like that, like most people do. They buy furniture, they buy things. But this portion, I put down on the principle of this. Now, here's the other cool part. They give you an entire year before you have to make any payments on here. So for a whole year, you're producing energy, you have a tiny electric bill, and you don't have to pay anything on the loan yet. For a whole year, for the first year. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So this was sitting in my bank account for about 9 months, waiting for that time to roll around to when that started, because I got it in about January, just a few months after getting the solar system, okay? Now, what does that leave? If I take 41,000 and I subtract 12,300, what was left on that loan after I paid that principal? So 41,000 minus 12,300. What do you get, man? Got my little notes here.
Okay, 28,700.
Yes. So we did not finance $41,000. We financed $28,700. Okay. Now again, that didn't start for after a whole year. So for a whole first year of having this, we didn't make any payments. We didn't have hardly any electric bill, okay? Now, as things went on, got electric cars, we got more fish tanks, we got other things. So, you know, bills started going up a little bit, but in the beginning, it was hardly anything at all. Could we have made the system bigger? Yes. The city, however, does not like that. The electric company doesn't want you to make the system larger than 80% of what you use. They don't want to really have to owe you very much. And we're going to talk about credits, but they don't want to bank tons and tons of time. They want you to kind of break even. So usually it's about 80%. But you can kind of project what you might be using and things. So anyway, that's why you're always going to have a little bit of a bill, unless you invest in batteries. We did not do that. We stayed on the grid. We send the electricity that we make back to the grid. They give us credits. They use it for our neighbors. And then if we have those banked, we use those first, and then we go into, you know, being on the grid like everybody else. But again, there's all kind of different ways you can do it, okay? So we took this 28%. Now we got an amazing deal on a home equity loan at 4.5%. And that was 7 years. So it took 8 years to pay off. The first year we didn't have any payments. Chucked this down right away, took it down to 28.7, and then 7 years, which was actually 8 because the first year was nothing. So that was a $398.93 was our payment every month, and then a little bit for electric. Now it depended on what we did that month. Some months we had hardly any electric bill at all. Some months was a little more. But monthly speaking, there are people around here, and we did several times, pay without having gas and with having electric heat pumps and everything else, $400, $500, $600 a month for electric, because these are all electric homes. So this monthly payment combined with our electric was still less most of the time than what we were used to paying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Now here's the bad part. Because we financed this, we ended up paying more than $28,000. This is what we decided to do. Again, we could have chucked more down on the principal or whatever, but we needed that money for other things. So you're going to take $28,700 and you're going to add $4,810 and 51 cents.
What's the second part? Add
4,810 and 51 cents. Okay?
51 cents.
And that was the interest we paid on that 8-year loan with nothing in the first year.
After that,
what do we get?
You'll have $33,510
Okay.
and 5 cents.
Okay.
Can't forget about the 5 cents.
Yes. So we did not pay $41,000 for this system. We paid $33,500. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, if you put more down and you paid it off sooner and you paid on the principal and whatever, you would pay less interest. This is how we decided to do it with the way we had to do it. We still felt like for 33 grand it wasn't an incredible cost. Now, here's the cool part. Now we're going to look at what did we make? What did we actually make? What did we save from a kilowatt standpoint? So in the last 10 years, again, you could do research where you live. Ohio's kind of in the middle of America.
Yeah.
And what I mean in the middle, I mean by cost. So there are states that are like, you go to Hawaii and stuff, it's like 40 cents a kilowatt and stuff.
Yeah.
You go to some places like 8 or 9 cents a kilowatt. Ohio's in the middle. So the average kilowatt over the last 15 years is about 15 cents. Now that, of course, is going up. They're projecting for the next 2 years for it to go 17 or 18 cents. But it started off around, 13, 14, and it went up to like 16. So the average over the last 10 years is 15. So we have made, put this in your phone here, 105,895 kilowatts. Okay? 105,895. Oops. 95 kilowatts. Now, if I multiply that times 0.15, 15 cents, what do you get?
You get $15,884 and dollars and 25 cents.
Yes. So, this in 10 years is what we've made. Now, in the last few years, and there's some people that don't believe that the climate is changing and things like that. Whatever. In the last few years, we can see very clearly on our grid, and when I say few, I mean 4 or 5, this has gone up steadily. So we've had less snow covering our panels. We've had leaves falling, getting more snow, or getting more sun to our panels, leaves falling earlier in the year. We've had changes, and you can see it. It's right there on the graphs in front of your face. So we're probably going to be producing more as the weather system and climate begins to change. More. So this will be more. Now, let's take a look at what we have left. Let's take 33,510. We could forget about the 5 cents. That's silly. $33,510, Jack, in your calculator over there. And we're going to subtract so far what we've made in actual money returning by our solar system. $15,884.25, if you want to put the cents, okay? What does that leave us still to cover our costs?
$17,625.75.
Yeah, so almost half, not quite, but almost half in the 10 years that we've done it. Now again, this was with the 30% paid on the principal. This was at a 4.5% interest, paying monthly, nothing for the first year, then paid off 7 years. Now here's the cool part. From a monthly standpoint, for the last 2 years, because this is 10 years, first year was nothing, 7 was 8 years it was done. For the last 2 years, we didn't have this. We only had a tiny electric bill. Some months, hardly anything at all. Like this autumn has been crazy in production. It's been sunny, hardly any clouds, hardly any rain.
Yeah.
So we've produced.
It's been pretty dry. It's been a dry autumn.
Yeah. So more solar. So we've had hardly any payment the last 2 years, even with electric cars and all this stuff and everything. Hardly any payment for the last 2 years. This was done. So that's beautiful. And here's the cool part. We're still looking at what we invested. So we still have 17,000 to go. Now, again, the projection is that the kilowatt's going to go up to 17, 18, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just throw out a hypothesis. It's gonna take us about 10 years to do this. That means we basically took a loan for 41 grand, paid a huge chunk of it with our income tax, and then made payments. Even with the interest in doing it the way we did, we're gonna get 25 years done. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people would say, wow, that's a long-term investment. Well, yeah, again, it depends. If you live in a place where you get more sun, it's going to be cheaper for you.
Also, the best kinds of investments are long-term investments.
I mean, here's the thing. This is something that...
Look at like a pension or a Roth IRA. I mean, the best kinds of investments.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly not going to get that kind of return on those kind of things. But again, if you look at people around here, there are people that have lived in this development for 50-something years. If they would have done this 45 or 50 years ago...
If you're 5 years older than me, let's say you're buying your first house, maybe even a little after that, if you do this now, then by the time they're your age, pretty much, they'll have a
way ahead of the game.
Humongous investment.
And
return,
that entire time, you're making energy off the sun, not producing CO2, and using coal.
And if
or
you've
whatever.
got electric vehicles, you can charge them off of
It's awesome.
the grid coming from the solar
Right.
panels, not from the city grid.
Now, here's the cool part too. There is a 25-year warranty on the system. Now, like always, that doesn't include labor. We're going to get to that in a minute. But 25 years. So if we end up staying here, let's say long term, this is done after 20 years, we already have a tiny payment of it changes. We don't do a budget because we have the panels and that, so we don't bother. So some months it's high, some months it's low, but again, a fraction of what it used to be. So for 2 years, we've had a tiny payment, and that's how it's going to be forever going forward. Forever and ever and ever. We'll basically get a return on investment at 20 years. We have 5 more years left on the warranty. Now, a few years ago, we had something happen. We had the modem. There's a modem right here in my office, and that modem attaches to this, and it goes to a program or an app on our phone where we can see exactly what we're making. We can see what's going on with all the panels. It tells you everything. It's really neat, actually. It tells you a lot of cool stuff. It's very simple to use. And the Yellow Light, they hooked us all up. We didn't have to do anything ourselves. They talk you through it. They have a great IT department, great salespeople, great engineers. They really do help you. They get everything certified through HOA. You don't have to do anything. We did nothing. We did nothing. They did everything. They got the certifications. They got for the city. They did everything. Just so you know, that's completely taken care of by them. And I would assume all companies do. But here's the thing. So that panel way up there above Jack's head, it's a little more black than the other ones. Something happened. It shattered. We don't know if, something fell on it or whatever. There's also a microconverter that goes into that turns that energy into, kilowatts and stuff for your house. Now, it broke. Also, the modem broke, okay? The reason that I knew that broke is because since the modem broke, I couldn't use the app and see what was going on. I bought a new modem, okay? That modem was about $300, okay? So, what if we had to pay? So I had to pay $300 for a new modem. Now, it's a really nice modem, and it's warranted, I think, for 5 years, like the original one was. So I had to pay $300. After we hooked a new modem up, I realized, hey, this one isn't producing. And I went up there on the roof, and I took Jack with me, and he goes, hey, look, it's all shattered. And that didn't fall everywhere. It's like, glass. Like a car window. Tempered. Yeah. So it stayed in the frame, it just was all like shattered.
Yeah, broken. Yeah.
So we called old Yellow Light up there, and we said, hey, here's what's going on. And they said, well, here's the thing. We don't make these panels anymore because, advancements in technology. They said, but honestly, we're going to give you a new panel. That new panel produces almost 40% more than our old panels do. So it produces more energy, and it was under warranty, and it was free. We did have to pay labor. Now, we probably could have done it ourselves. It certainly wasn't complicated, but it was the first time we ever needed it worked on. And we had the new modem and everything. And So, by the way, when we did the modem, they helped us over the phone hook the new modem up and everything. That was really easy. So great IT and all that. So $300 for the modem. The labor, I believe, for them to come out, pop the old panel off, put the new one on and everything, was about $36.99. Something like that. So the total for the modem to pay for, because that was not part of the warranty like the system is, $636.99. Here's the cool part. This is the part Jack likes. When you produce kilowatts and you don't use them and you send them back to the grid, that's what this guy right here is what's called a bidirectional meter. So when we're not using kilowatts, like right now, Pamela's in there, she's working on her computer, she's doing laundry. Our panels are providing that energy right now because of the sun, okay? But if we weren't using anything and no one was inside, it would go back to the grid. It would go to people in our area that are using energy, okay? So here's the thing. When you send back a certain amount, and these are called CERCs. What does a CERC stand for? I gotta look it up. Solar Renewable Energy Credits. Mm-hmm. It's SREC, and you can look that up and you can find out more about it. You do not get a lot for CERCs, but if you're smart and you do what me and Jack did over here, we started a separate little account. And every month you come out, it's right outside my office, I look at that meter, I punch it in, takes 2 seconds, and then every few months, I think it's every 3 months, you give them your CERCs, they give you money. And there's a company that does it all for you. And of course, they take a little cut. But in that reserve, we had $1,310.24. So I want you to take, so this is go $1,310.25 and subtract $636.99. What do you get?
You get $673.26.
Okay, so we still have left in our repair fund from what we make on CERCs, $673. We haven't even used half of that in over 10 years now. And, of course, the new modems are supposed to last much longer than the old ones. This is much more fancy and everything. And the new panel phone. We have 15 more years left on our warranty. And honestly, if something else goes wrong, again, we could probably change it because the guy showed me how to do it and everything.
Yeah, it's not
So we probably wouldn't pay labor. We'd probably just run down to solar light or yellow light, get the thing, do it ourselves. But so this is, and every I think you get a payment every month or every 3 months. They change it sometimes. It has to be a certain amount, and then they throw it in your account. It's kind of like YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, this is going to keep growing forever and ever and ever. You're going to keep making circs, and you just keep that in a little account on the side, and you keep it for repairs and things if you need them. Okay, so that's kind of neat. So we've not paid for repairs. We're positive $673 in our repair account. Okay, so how awesome is that? So even here in Cleveland, even in a place where we don't get a ton of sun, and we didn't face south for most of our panels, and we have leaves and snow and everything else, it still makes sense for us to do, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people are going to say, what if you go to sell? And again, we've already addressed the fact that these days, this is something that people want. You're going to have no gas. A lot of people don't like gas. You know, in an old house, every time I went in the basement, it smelled like gas. I was always freaked out, right?
It's dangerous too, yeah.
Yeah. We see things, I mean, people say it's not, but every day in the wintertime when I wake up, I'm always stretching out, and I turn the news on like early in the morning. It's like another house exploding with gas and stuff like that.
I mean, it's pretty primitive and it's dangerous. There's no reason not to use
it. Just seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
It seems kind of weird that, you know, when something like this is possible.
If you want to cook on gas, then get a Blackstone or something. Get a separate propane grill. But
I mean, everybody likes different things. We feel warm enough with our heat pumps. We have 2 heat pumps, one on this side, one on the other side. Some of these houses have 1, some have 2, some have 3. They're stretched out more, whatever. Anyway, whatever. But in our situation, we think that even under the conditions that we have, which are not incredibly favorable, we're going to pay off our system in 20 years. We've paid 0 for repairs, and we have almost $700 in our repair fund going forward, which will continue to go up. We saved tons of CO2 production. And if we go to sell, we're going to be certainly able to ask more than 17 for the house with the solar system, because the person's going to move in. Even if we sell tomorrow,
yeah,
we'll probably jack up the price 20, 25 grand, which is, you know, again, in this market, shouldn't be a problem. Even more than what we would have charged, because we're going to have a solar system. So we're going to recuperate it whether we stay or go, which again, you can't say for a remodel kitchen so much, right?
No, yeah.
So anyway, this is how it works. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's an easy thing. You can open the app anytime you want. You can look things up. But again, people are going to ask questions. How many kilowatts do you use? How many? Again, your situation is going to be totally different than everybody else. Everybody's going to be independent. Here's what we did. Again, we put the information down below. Check them out. Call them. They can literally do an assessment off Google Maps and not even come to your house. And they can say, this is how much it's going to cost you. And of course, it depends on your credit, right? What kind of percentage you can get. There was really good financing at the time, and I had pretty good credit at the time, which I have pretty good credit still. But, you know, again, you may have to pay a little higher thing. Now, for people that work in, you live in apartments or condos and things like that, you can talk to your condo association. You can talk to your apartment owner. You could say, hey, what if we did something like this? It might make sense for you to do. A lot of apartments, they're way up high. There's not going to be any trees blocking them. They could put them up on the roof. Nobody would even see them, right? And then the landlord's going to actually make more money. You know what I mean? So I always talk to people who, like people that own, you know, restaurants or people that own, and they're renting. I was like, talk to the owner about it and just hook them up with yellow light. They may be surprised. It may be something that they want to do, and it'll save all the tenants money and everything else. So anyway, here's what a normal day's like in Cleveland. See?
Yeah, it was really sunny for a minute. Now
We got some solar, and then we didn't. And that's how it goes. Imagine if you live in a place where you can put your panels facing south all the time.
Like Arizona, right?
Yeah. I mean, wow. You know, and where you get way more sun. Cleveland's one of the cloudiest places. I think I read one time that even compared to like England or something, which everybody thinks is foggy and gray, they're like, Cleveland is the same. And we're still able to do this. If you lived in a sunnier place, you could probably pay this whole thing off in half the time. So anyway, we're glad we did it. We think it's awesome. And we just wanted to kind of share our story and give people some ideas. We definitely recommend checking it out. Give Cody a call or Yellow Light a call. We're gonna put their information down below. Get an assessment. You might be surprised. Again, I did this when I was like, you know, almost, well, I did it after I was 40, just like Jack was saying. If you do it when you're 25 or something like that, by the time you're 40, it's done, and then you're going the whole rest of your life like free energy, like, you know, and then you just keep this going for repairs. It's like so easy. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. Hopefully this helps a lot of people. Check out the information we put below and everything. Have an awesome day.
Yep. See you guys later.